Venom: The Last Dance. Eddie and Venom are on the run and have to make a life-changing decision to save both their worlds. This film is a slog to get through. Eddie still has no character development. He gives Officer Doofy a run for his money. Established mechanics from the first two films and this one are tossed out the window completely. The film has an overly bloated cast that takes away screen time from Eddie and Venom that could have strengthened their relationship. The ending was anticlimactic and contrived, with characters just knowing shit for the sake of knowing. What action we did get was generic. Another horrible send-off for a beloved character. I'm glad this is the end of the trilogy and this version of Venom and Cuck Brock. Hopefully the next reboot gets a little closer to what he's like in the comics or animated series. I give this a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Wait to stream it. Major spoilers and letdowns ahead. The movie starts with Noel telling his creatures, the xenophage, he was imprisoned by the symbiotes he created and that he needs them to find Venom, who is the key to free him. We then cut to Eddie in Spider-Man's universe at the bar scene from the end of No Way Home, right as Eddie gets transported back to his universe in the same bar. We get treated to Venom bartending. Eddie then finds out from the TV that he's wanted for murder and wants to leave town. As they're leaving, Venom leaves a coin behind with Venom goo on it. As Eddie's walking down an alley, he hears a noise and then investigates, only to find criminals that are holding dogs hostage. Venom says, "Hola, bitches." An action scene commences. A portion of the fight, Eddie and Venom fight separately instead of fully venomized, and it looks as stupid as it did in the trailers. The Xenos find him right after the fight and doesn't immediately attack for some reason. Back at the bar, a general by the name of Strickland shows up and recovers Venom's goo and calls it viral shedding. This film yet again adding rules and info that won't mean shit later. We're then introduced to Dr. Payne, who has a dream of her and her twin brother being struck by lightning while holding hands, leaving her with a damaged arm. Apparently, this will have a dumbass payoff depending on your interpretation at the end. Detective Mulligan is still alive from the last film and is in custody, barely holding on to life from his previous injuries, and is now being taken to a military base that, get this, has a fucking dust waterfall covering the entrance to the facility. Peak stupidity. This is going to be a long review/breakdown. So Mulligan's symbiote left him for dead, and the military saves him by bonding him to another symbiote they captured. So how the fuck they know this symbiote was compatible and wouldn't kill him? Oh well, the film doesn't know, and neither do I. Moving along, now that Mulligan has bonded to this symbiote, the symbiote starts immediately giving an exposition dump about Noel to the military and scientists. Meanwhile, Venom and Eddie are on the side of a plane and decides to go full Venom randomly, and the Xeno hones in on him and immediately attacks him. This roach crab jumps from the ground thousands of feet in the air. I'm dying at the leap of logic here. A mini fight begins. Venom destroys the Xeno by flinging it into the engine and shredding it. Venom jumps off the plane, leaving everyone to die, and lands in the middle of a desert. We'll just X out Protector on the end of your name and replace it with asshole.
So Venom the lethal asshole
then informs Eddie about the xenophage and tells him that because Eddie died and Venom brought him back to life, he created a key that will release Noel, and that if only one of them dies, the key is destroyed. Meanwhile, the Xeno is regenerating its whole body. Venom then gives us his visual effects budget saving strategy and says only his head and tentacles can come out without attracting xenophage. And then the next thing, he immediately venomizes a horse. No xenophage. General Strickland then finds Eddie and Venom with the symbiote tracker thingy and separates Eddie and Venom immediately with, I'm guessing, a sound wave cannon. Eddie falls into the water. Venom jumps in to reattach, but soldiers capture him with a fishnet. Eddie is being attacked by soldiers and kills one. Venom venomizes 3 animals to reattach to Eddie. Once attached, Eddie goes full Venom. The Xeno appears, then leaves once Venom goes back inside Eddie. So the roach crab is blind because no symbiote is actively present? Okay. Back at the military base, they get Mulligan's symbiote to come out. Toxin, I believe is his name. is admiring the cell he's been inhabiting for the past 24 hours and tells military and crew he can sense his home, the other symbiotes. He then tells them how to stop Null from coming. With this information, General Strickland now wants to kill Eddie to save the world, but Dr. Payne objects because she wants to study his symbiosis with Venom. We meet Hippie Family. They take Eddie on a road trip with them to Las Vegas, and along the way they sing Major Tom. Tell me, why is every movie adding a full-on musical piece all of a sudden? They drop Eddie in Vegas and Venom wants to paint the town red. He then knocks out a doorman and no one notices or pays attention as they walk over his body. Venom then knocks out a guy in a fancy suit and does the quickest comedic change ever and happens to run into Miss Chen from the grocery store. Back at the base, General Strickland sends in the elite squad called the Six and requests his superior to implement the Imperial program. Meanwhile, in Vegas, a Xeno is on top of a gas station scouting. Eddie transforms into Venom to do a fucking dance number with Miss Chen. The Xeno senses this and takes its sweet time to attack. It climbs a fucking tower before attacking. Remember the plane scene? This motherfucker jumps from thousands of feet and instantly attacks. Yeah, not now. It just climbs and looms. The Xeno attacks, Venom retreats back into Brock, and the Xeno morphs into Stevie Wonder. Soldiers come in, separate Venom and Eddie with a separator gun, and capture them. Cut to Hippie Family going into Area 51. Venom is put in a container like the other symbiotes and is deteriorating without Eddie, and it's only been a few minutes, while none of the other symbiotes are deteriorating. And now we find out that it's been only a year since the events of the first film. You found and captured 5 to 7 symbiotes, developed a one-shot soundwave symbiote separator, and a symbiote finder in only a few months.
Right.
Continuing, the Hippie Family sneaks onto the military base without being detected and climbs a tower. Back in the lab, Sadie, the second scientist, feels bad for Venom and lets him attach to her. Eddie is placed in a cell next to Mulligan. Mulligan turns into Toxin to talk to Eddie and tells him a symbiote army is here and you need to protect them. General Strickland takes Eddie out of his cell and shoots him to destroy the key, and Venom saves him by jumping from Sadie to Eddie and going full Venom. The Xeno shows up. Toxin can now just break out of a cell, but only to die immediately by the Xeno. The fight continues and they release the 7 samurai symbiotes to fight the Xeno. Continuity here. Didn't we establish that symbiotes can't just bond with anyone? No? Okay, sorry, my bad. The fight continues. The Xeno eats a few more symbiotes. Dr. Payne takes a symbiote vial and runs. The fight moves outside. The Hippie Family is still in the tower for some fucking reason. Eddie stops in the middle of the fight to talk to the Hippie Family for a good 3 to 5 minutes while people are dying. Way to go, lethal asshole. The fight continues. Another symbiote dies by General Strickland firing a rocket at it. Sadie, the second scientist, is gifted a symbiote that can form blades and tells Strickland they're not the enemy. The Xeno now has an instant sonic separator wave to stop Venom and phone home. Noel responds to this echolocation and sends more Xenos. Hippie Family drops the second F-bomb of the film while getting saved from the Xenos. Hang on, so Xenos can see and fight humans but can't see Eddie after Venom leaves.
Right.
Sadie is fighting a Xeno but her blades don't work. But Venom comes in and uses helicopter blades to chop off the Xeno's head. Sadie's symbiote gets separated by a Xeno sound wave and the symbiote gets eaten. Eddie gets saved from a Xeno by a hippie guy. Eddie then hides in a downed helicopter and Venom says goodbye knowing he has to die to end the fight. He turns Venom again and absorbs the Xenos, throws Eddie out, walks into an acid bath area and tells General Strickland to drop the acid. During said acid bath, Venom helps Strickland up after being wounded and covers Eddie with a door. Noel is upset. The general throws a grenade into Venom. It blows up. Sadie, the second scientist, is in the path of this explosion, so Dr. Payne bonds with a symbiote and it happens to be a Flash symbiote and takes Sadie to safety. Dr. Payne's arm is healed from her childhood lightning strike. Back with Eddie, The door magically protects him from an explosion and acid damage. Venom and Xenos are dead. Eddie wakes up in a hospital and a random general shows up to tell him that all his destruction from the past year is forgiven, and if he mentions it, he's dead. A goodbye montage for Venom plays, and there's no scenes from Let There Be Carnage from what I can recall. Over in New York, Eddie is looking at the Statue of Liberty because that was on Venom's bucket list. The end. We get a montage of venomized creatures. A mid-credit scene shows Null threatening to kill our world after its champion Venom fell. I'm getting Snyderverse vibes here.
No protectors here. No Spider-Man. No symbiote.
What the f***? The post-credit scene shows Barman emerge from a cave and a bug next to Venom's vial in post-credits. So this portion is a bit of a rant. Okay, so we know from the first two films that 1, symbiotes must match with hosts and will kill or leave the host if it doesn't match. 2, Carnage established you can bite heads off and power up. So why in the hell are the 7 samurai symbiotes jumping from person to person like they changing underwear with no damage to the host? You have Venom venomizing everything under the sun and the Xenos can't see or sense that shit. Is it because he's not Venom with Eddie? Not clear, and the film doesn't clarify neither. Because it only seemed to reside in Venom's neck, and at one point the Xeno separates Venom and Eddie and tries to take Venom only. So that kind of proves the key only lies within Venom. Therefore, whenever he venomized the other animals, they should have been on his ass. They introduced Noel only to M. Night Shyamalan us with the Xenos. What a waste. Noel showed up for only 5 minutes of screen time. There was no reason to try and set him up for future projects when this is the last Venom film. Most of the characters are not even officially part of the MCU, and this should be the last of the trilogy. Let it ride off into the hell where it belongs. And how the fuck is Venom Earth's champion when he struggled to beat Riot and Carnage? Actually, he didn't even beat Carnage. Shriek did. Another thing I need to address is Sony's wild-ass description of Venom. How in the fuck is Venom a complex character? Is he struggling with eating human brains because his morals are changing and aligning with Eddie's? Given consideration to the idea that some bad people should have a shot at a second chance to turn their life around and not immediately be sentenced to death because Venom caught him? What a shitty way to end a trilogy. That's it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts. Roll credits.